Hi, this is Richard Hayzler, proud principal of Pequannock Valley School, a grade 6 through 8 school in Pompton Plains, New Jersey, as part of the Pequannock Township School District. And welcome to this week's episode of Learning Sparks, where we learn and grow together, talking about instructional strategies that enhance student learning in your classrooms. The year is coming to a screeching halt. It's hard to believe that pretty soon our hallways and classrooms are going to be empty and students and staff will be off for summer vacation. I know in some places that's already happened throughout the country. What I'd like to talk about today on Learning Sparks is how do we celebrate learning? Because celebrating learning is critical. And in particular, at the end of the year, it's important to make sure that we take time to reflect, acknowledge, and celebrate all the great things that you accomplish in your classrooms with your students and in your schools. And so I think there are 5 major things that we need to do together as a school to make sure that we're celebrating learning effectively. And number 1, I think we do need to spend time in reflection with our students. I think there are some key questions that we should be asking and discussing with them in order to celebrate the learning throughout the year. For example, a question that you could ask them is, what new information did you learn this year that you find very valuable, that you're going to take with you into the next grade level? I'd be interested to hear what their responses are at whatever grade level that you teach, because you do want to celebrate all the great things that they were able to learn this year. And if you reflect on those, sometimes they might not even realize that, wow, we did all of this together. That's celebrating learning. I think you could ask them, in what ways were you proud of your work? What were some things, what were some highlights, what were some projects that you remember that are going to have a lasting impression on you in this grade level that you were in? You can reflect on the relationships that you had with them. As a teacher, as an administrator, how was I able to help you in the classroom? Because that's going to help you be a better teacher or a better administrator. So take time, just with those 3 simple questions, asking to celebrate learning in the classrooms. I think another way you can celebrate learning is to do project-based learning with them at the end of the year. Let students explore real-world problems and acquire deeper knowledge using all of the things that they learned. Right now, our 7th graders are doing a World War II project, and they're allowed to choose the topic. It could be anything about World War II. And they're researching, and they're designing, and they're building, and it's great to see them coming together, celebrating their learning, everything that they learned in their social studies classes. Things like that, or in science where they're doing labs, or in a STEM class where they can build or construct, or even in a math class where they can go out into the real world and apply the math skills that they learned. Celebrate all of those things that they've learned in your classroom. I think another way to celebrate learning is to have whole school events. Have things like spring concerts, and not just do them at night, do them in front of the classes so that the kids get to see what the bands and the choirs and the jazz bands and the orchestras are doing. Because the parents want to come and see it, but the students should also see the effort that their peers put in to work hard in learning the instruments and learning how to sing and all the various things that they do. Have art shows, have assemblies, have field days. Here at PV, we have a whole field day dedicated to students where we celebrate learning. And the kids are set up in teams and they have competitive events. We have logic puzzles, we do trivia. And it's a whole day where we're just together, where they're coming to school and they don't have to worry about tests or quizzes or projects. They can just celebrate being together, because that's a large part of what makes school be successful. Make sure you celebrate learning in those ways. Have ice cream socials and barbecues and things where kids will be and staff will be talking together and spending time reflecting on what has been a great year. Make sure you have awards and recognitions in celebrating learning. And it shouldn't just be with a senior class or an 8th grade or a 5th grade or wherever the last year of your school is at that grade level. Make sure you're recognizing students of the month. You're recognizing students who showed major improvement, comeback players of the year. Have time where you're celebrating accomplishments of your students, but also celebrating accomplishments of your staff. Highlight them at staff meetings. Send out announcements to the community. Make sure you're recognizing the great work that they've accomplished throughout the school year. And lastly, in celebrating learning, recognize those that make a difference. Whether it's a parent, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a secretary, a custodian, a student, make sure you tell them how much you care about them, that you love them, and that they really matter. Because that's what makes schools so successful. It's having those celebrations that emphasize the power and joy in learning, because that's what school's all about. So as we rush toward the end of a school year, take time to celebrate all the great things that sparked learning throughout the school year, because that's what's so great about schools. So thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Learning Sparks. My name is Rich Hayzler. You can follow me on Twitter at Rich Hayzler. Let's keep growing our professional learning networks. Get out there, join Twitter if you're not on it, or if you are, make sure you're following more people, because that's how we learn and grow together. As always, do what's best for kids. Have a great day, everybody.